Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome, everyone. Today we're tackling one of the most notoriously confusing verbs for English speakers trying to learn Spanish. I'm talking about the verb gustar. By the end of this explainer, you are absolutely going to master it completely, and we're going to do it by looking at some very real-world, everyday examples. But before we jump right into the grammar, let's quickly credit our source material. This lesson comes straight out of Libro 2, which is a language learning method created by Juan Miguel Regafero Fernandez. He's a Cuban industrial engineer turned language instructor, and his whole method relies on practical scenarios to teach Spanish. And honestly, that's exactly the approach we're going to take today. So here's our big hook question for today. Why is simply saying I like it so incredibly tricky for English speakers to master in Spanish? I mean, it feels like it should just be a direct translation, right? Just word for word, but it's really not. So to find the answer to this and crack this grammatical mystery, we're going to take a look at the daily life of a character from our textbook. Her name is Laura. Part 1. Meet Laura, Diet and Lifestyle. So according to our source text, Laura is an athletic 20-year-old who works out at the gym and maintains a super healthy lifestyle. And a massive part of that is her highly nutritious diet. On the fruit side of things, she loves things like piña, that's pineapple, and mango. And over on the vegetable side, she goes for remolacha, beets, and habichuela, green beans. Now keep these specific foods in the back of your mind because we're going to use them to literally crack the code on how to express likes and dislikes in Spanish. Part 2. The secret of gustar. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we transition from what Laura eats to the grammatical secret of how she actually expresses her preferences. Get ready, because here is your aha moment. The absolute biggest mistake English speakers make is trying to translate the verb gustar directly as to like. You literally have to throw that concept completely out the window. The literal translation of gustar is actually to be pleasing to. Think about it like this. To a Hispanic speaker, you don't like the mango. Rather, the mango is pleasing to you. The food is actually the subject doing the action. Once you flip that mental switch, I promise you the entire structure suddenly makes perfect sense. And because the thing we're talking about is pleasing to someone, we have to use what are called indirect object pronouns. Let's systematically break this down using this table. If the mango is pleasing to me, we use the pronoun me. If it's pleasing to you, we use te. For to him, her, or you formal, that maps directly to le. To us becomes nos, and to them or you all is les. These pronouns are absolutely crucial. They basically act as a compass, telling us exactly who is experiencing the pleasure of the object. Part 3. Singular versus plural. Gusta versus gustan. Okay, so we've got our pronoun. Now we need to figure out how to actually conjugate the verb gustar based on the food we're talking about. Remember, since the food is doing the action of being pleasing, the verb changes based on the food itself, not the person eating it. Let's juxtapose gusta and gustan here. Because Laura doesn't like eating at restaurants, and comer, to eat, is an action verb, we use the singular gusta, comer. But for her multiple fruits and vegetables like las frutas or los vegetales, we have to use the plural gustan. It's that simple. One pineapple, gusta. Multiple vegetables, gustan. So, what does this all mean? It brings us to the golden formula. Let's really anchor this in your memory right now. The formula is indirect object pronoun, so me, te, le, nos, or les, plus gusta or gustan, plus the subject, which is the thing being pleasing. Look at the examples derived from Laura's diet. Me gusta la piña. The pineapple is pleasing to me. Notice it's gusta because la piña is singular. Now check out the second one. Le gustan los vegetales. The vegetables are pleasing to her, to Laura. It's gustan because los vegetales is plural. Just say it out loud to yourself a few times. Pronoun, gusta or gustan, subject. You've got this. Part 4. Tasting traditional Hispanic dishes. Now that we have the grammatical mechanics dialed in, let's widen the lens a bit. Let's apply these rules to the rich, traditional Hispanic dishes mentioned in our source text. And this brilliantly illustrates the deep connection between language and cultural pride. The text states, En México, como en España, el orgullo de muchos restaurantes es la paella, una deliciosa mezcla de arroz, pollo y mariscos. Translated, that means, in Mexico, as in Spain, the pride of many restaurants is paella, a delicious mix of rice, chicken, and seafood. Food is just a massive point of cultural pride across the Spanish-speaking world, which is exactly why mastering how to talk about it is so incredibly vital. So let's apply our golden formula to some of these amazing cultural meals.
The text mentions ajiaco, which is a traditional Cuban soup made with root vegetables and meat, and of course the Spanish paella. If you want to say I like ajiaco, you say me gusta el ajiaco. The ajiaco is pleasing to me. If you and your friends want to say we like paella, you say nos gusta la paella. The paella is pleasing to us. Notice that because ajiaco and paella are single individual dishes, we're using the singular gusta in both of those instances.
To make sure this really sticks in your brain, let's walk through a super quick mental checklist that you can use the next time you're sitting down, looking at a menu in a Hispanic restaurant. Step 1, identify the food you want to talk about. Let's just say it's pollo, chicken. Step 2, ask yourself, is it singular or plural? Well, pollo is singular, so lock in the word gusta. Step 3, ask who is it pleasing to. If it's pleasing to your friend sitting across the table, meaning to you, the pronoun is te. Put it all together, te gusta el pollo. You like the chicken. See, it really is that logical. Part 5. Practice your new skills.
All right, we've broken down the theory, we've looked at Laura's healthy diet, and we've explored some incredible traditional dishes. Now, it's time for you to take the wheel and put everything you've just learned to the test. Knowing what you now know about the golden formula, how would you say, I like this video in Spanish? I'm going to pause for just a couple of seconds so you can calculate the formula in your head. The video is singular, it is pleasing to me, so what's the phrase?
Did you get it? The correct answer is me gusta el video. The video is pleasing to me. If you got that right, huge congratulations, because you have officially mastered the verb gustar. And hey, speaking of that exact phrase, if this explainer was indeed pleasing to you, please take a second to hit the like button and leave a comment for the YouTube channel. It really helps others discover these structured lessons so they can learn Spanish too. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep practicing that formula, and I will see you in the next explainer.